Hi, Paul. So, yeah, today I thought we were going to talk about the hazards of being a guitarist, and how dangerous it is as an instrument in terms of an occupational health hazard. Here is the data that I was talking about earlier on of what I've done in terms of the last 6 months of my work in my clinic. Musicians are about a third of my workload now, and I have been counting which instruments people play. And it looks like, as in previous years, the first 6 months of this year, I've seen 30 something guitarists and 50 something pianists. And essentially, that represents the numbers of people in this country, I think, that play these instruments. And as we've said before, guitar is very a self-taught instrument. So, yeah, I mean, what we really want to know, I suppose, is, and I'm trying to get this data out of the Musicians Union, who plays what in the UK. And there are problems with that because we don't know who's a professional musician, who's a semi-professional, who plays uh, for pleasure, and so and I see a mixture of those. In fact, I've I've done that by genre, and most people I see are professionals, but quite a lot are amateurs as well. But I don't really know what this chart means. Um,
Yeah. Do you know what's really interesting? Years ago, the ISM did a survey. 50% of musicians owns a guitar in the UK, something like that.
oh, really? That's interesting.
And that's really interesting. And I think what you can see here is, and this is what we've seen over the years, is that not only is the guitar popular, but it is also unfortunately an instrument that causes a lot of occupational health damage, so to speak.
Yeah. And do you think a lot of that is related to being a self-taught instrument?
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. And that the movements that we know on the guitar are so unnatural, a lot of them, and the stress that people may have whilst learning the guitar. So there are
Do you,
definitely some serious issues there.
of the instruments that we've talked about, there's 12 strings and there's classical guitars, steel guitars, electric guitars, etc. Do you see any hazards, particularly in types of instruments?
I think most commonly, classical guitarists suffers a lot because of the strain of the repertoire, which can be quite demanding as they go through the grades or exams. And then sometimes we see it in electric guitar playing, but that's
Yeah.
mainly because the musicians are self-taught, so they don't have a foundation in terms of technique.
Essentially, of all the patients I see, the vast majority are classical musicians. And I see a bit of jazz and rock and pop and people who are multi-instrumentalists and people play multiple different styles. Um, this was an interesting chart from this review here that we were talking about earlier on about which hand seems to be the most affected when I see people in the clinic. And this is violin here behind this picture. Um, Generally, on the violin, it's left and right hand and both hands that I see people in equal numbers. But for the piano, it's mostly right hand, which is interesting. Interesting, and you can take from that what you will. And then for the guitar, it's mostly left hand problems that I'm seeing, as it is with the cello. What do you make of that?
Well, if the left hand is the one that's on the fretboard, then that's really completely understandable because of the extreme strain that is on the left hand. You have to do so many things in your left hand when you are playing and coordinate that it's not that
Mm.
unusual. And the whole position coming up on the instrument, and holding that in a gentle manner without putting strain on with your thumb on the neck and so on. I think that makes a lot of sense, that data to me.
Yeah, and what I suppose what 10 or 15% of people are left-handed. But even I've seen quite a few left-handed people who play the guitar in the normal way with a right-handed guitar in the normal style. Is that your impression?
Yes, I mean, just think about Jimi Hendrix.
Well, he
Yeah.
was left-handed and had a normal guitar upside down, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that, yeah, that is common, but you could actually either get a left-handed guitar, just swap the strings over if you wanted to. But it is interesting that that's the case as well, and whether that causes any concerns as well, or problems for the guitar, I don't really know, but I could imagine it may do in some
Yeah.
circumstances.
Yeah, and of course, if you've got a guitar that is designed as a right-handed guitar and you're a left-handed guitarist and you're playing it, then of course there's all the cutaway problems and things like that for the electric guitar, which become a bit odd.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, it's like having right-sided scissors if you're a right-handed person and
Yeah.
having left-handed scissors for a left-handed person, I suppose.
I mean, I tried playing sort of in the style of Jimi Hendrix, and it's for me, it's like being a complete beginner again, obviously.
Yes.
The
Uh,
retraining would be
uh,
enormous to be able to do that.
Now, I suppose with most guitars, the classical guitar, of course, you can turn it upside down and swap it the other way around without a
Exactly.
problem.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
suppose there's the scratch pad or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah,
just move
exactly.
that.
Yeah, but I think this data that you're showing here is really, really interesting, showing how
Yeah,
high a percentage for the left hand.
good. Well, we'll leave it at that for today.
Thank you very much. Lovely to see you, Mark.
Nice to speak to you. Bye now.